Hey everybody, it's back to school time. We're so glad that you guys could make it to the meeting today. We are going to be speaking about supporting teachers in the classroom. My name is Molly Cup. I'm a physical therapist assistant.
Hey, I'm Janelle Davis, and I am a CODA with Stellar, and we're excited to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so what is our number one goal, and why is it important to support the teachers and the classroom? So, first, being on the same page with your teachers and knowing the outcome that you want can make a big difference. So, we're going to talk a little bit about carryover and prevention. So, carryover can go both ways. And we definitely got input from our teachers on this presentation as well because we wanted it to be from OT, PT, speech, and teacher outlook. So carryover definitely goes both ways. So oftentimes we go pull the kids, we go work, and then we bring them back. And we tell the teachers what we've been working on, but we don't really ask what they've been working on. So the goal is to reduce the caseload. We want to help our students reach their goals. And one of the ways that we can help them do that quicker is if we give them more of an opportunity to practice their skills. So if they're being able to practice skills with you and in the classroom, that gives them more of an exposure. And when we're talking about supporting the classroom, we're also talking a little bit about prevention. Because if we can support the teachers in the classroom as a whole, then you could possibly help prevent a child from needing your services because you're providing them with opportunities to work on skills that they might be just a little bit delayed in. Okay, so let's talk about mindset. I know that we are going to give you some things to do when we're talking about supporting the teachers and the classroom as putting more on you. And let's be real, nobody has time for that, right? It takes too much energy and too much time and too much effort to go really support your classroom. So that's what we're thinking, right? And a lot of times I know in the past, this will be my 14th school year, and there's definitely been times when I have felt helpless. Like I'm working so hard every week and I'm getting no follow through from anyone. And so that can make me feel helpless and that can make me feel frustrated. And the teachers can feel the same. And so when I go in and I ask the teachers to do all these things, it can feel like a burden for me to do that and for them. And so we're already overwhelmed and we have a lot of demands. But if we flip that into because, and we look at these as an opportunity and a reason, it's so that we will have more time. The school year will take less energy and less effort to help these kids reach their goals. And then knowledge really is power. If we know what the teachers are working on, if we give them our knowledge of what we're working on and how to make it easier for them, then we're all going to feel empowered and we're each going to feel like we're helping each other as a team. So it gives you and them more time. And so, most oftentimes in life, your butt really just needs to be a because. A little mindset and a little front loading really can make all the difference.
So, we all know as therapists, it's really important to build rapport with our students, right? They're not going to trust us and know that we're there to care for them unless we build rapport. But I think that also goes both ways of like we need to take time to build rapport with our teachers, with our coworkers, and making sure that they know what we're there for, that we're there to help them. So we just wanted to provide a list of some tips. Some of this has been kind of trial and error of our experience through the years. Um, so I think it's really important when you're talking with the teacher about these things to try and stop during their planning times. Um, we all know that we have busy schedules, but when they're, for a gen ed classroom, for example, they're in the middle of teaching and they're have a whole classroom in front of them. And then you walk in and you're like, hey, I'm bringing so and so back. Here's what I want you to work on. And they're they're trying to be like, wait, I'm in the middle of teaching right now. That's not the best time to be, talking about these things or even just introducing. So just popping your head in, hey, I'm Molly Cup. I would love to speak to you. When would be a good time to talk? And so we can kind of figure out our schedule, talk about so and so, that sort of thing. I've felt that like that goes over a lot better. And they understand, they feel like they're understood, that they have a busy schedule too. I love exchanging my number with the teachers. And so they all have my phone number. I have their numbers. I feel like it's been a good system for us. I don't feel like it's, I'm not bothering them a whole lot and they're not bothering me a whole lot. It just works well for good communication. Um, I also kind of, text them briefly like, "Hey, I'm going to go see so and so today. Just wanted to give you a heads up." I think they appreciate that communication. And that third point, just asking them when and how is the best way to communicate. Um, that could be through email, it could be through text, phone call, just stopping by when you're there weekly. Making sure you send a follow-up email when you have them scheduled. So I'm a very visual person. I appreciate whenever I see like it written out in a text or an email, like, hey, I'm seeing this person at this time on this day. So we can kind of get it that way they can get it embedded in their head and they kind of know to expect when we might be showing up. It's important that we do what we say that we'll do. And, obviously we're not perfect. So if something comes up, it's important that we communicate that. So then that way they can still trust us and know that we're still there for them. Um, yeah, it's important to schedule a time to discuss the goals for the student, what goals they have, what goals we have for them, to talk about equipment and schedule trainings if needed. Um, Ultimately, it's all a team approach. We're all working together as a team, just like those little people over there, putting all their hands in, and we're all a team, and that's really important for the teachers to understand and for us to understand. But we want to ask them how we can help. We want them to know that we care and that we're there to help them. And we want to slow down to get ahead, right? Just like Janelle said earlier. So those are some of our tips for just establishing rapport and maintaining that rapport. So specific PT support, on a PT side, we're working with gen ed teachers and students, as well as kids that are in disciplinary rooms or whatnot. So we kind of see a broad spectrum. And, um, you know, I feel like connection, communication, and consistency is key. Um, when we are trying to maintain that good rapport with the teachers, but also with the students too, they appreciate routine and consistency, and knowing that we're going to be there at a certain time or whatever. So, I think it was mentioned earlier, like for our gen ed students, it's important that the teachers view us as help and not as a disruption to their class. And, meeting them during an hour or time that's good for them when they're not actively teaching. They might just be planning, getting their thoughts together. Um, it's important that we discuss the students' safety, participation, and gross motor abilities with teachers. And this can mean just more than the teacher that you see when you're pulling the student, right? This can mean the case manager, even the PE teacher, pulling them aside and be like, hey, how much is this kid actually doing in gym class? And that kind of goes with, providing the verbal prompts that we might use during our sessions to maybe help them when they're in PE. Be like, hey, I've been saying this, whenever we've been playing with a ball, and I feel like it works well. And that goes for also like improving their safety. Um, so, examples for that, like safety and form on the stairs. Um, and, we might have certain ways that we explain, okay, we want to have safe feet, right? Well, what does that mean from a teacher standpoint? Well, it's safe feet, okay, we're going to face forward, we're going to go right foot, left foot, right foot, um, those little things that we say, I've found it helpful if we just briefly tell the teachers that. And they start doing that whenever they're going up and down the stairs as a class. There's that carryover. Um, and other examples, walking safely along with their peers in the hallway, the new activities that PE they might be experiencing in PE class, also safety and exploration and on the playground. Um, for our students who are in the multi-handicap rooms, they might be placed in and out of equipment daily. So, this is really important that we set up trainings with the teachers to review all of the equipment that they will be using. It is super, super important that they are safe and comfortable using it and, that they continue to be. It's not just, sometimes this means that we're educating multiple times. Um, not just that one time that we come at the beginning of the school year. It's a constant refresher. Be like, hey, how are things going? Proper body mechanics. We're there every week, so we can also observe. We can kind of like have our eye on them, and if we notice something, handling it and being like, hey, I just wanted to see if maybe you might need a reviewer, refresher on things, just to make sure that y'all are safe, that the students safe. Um, and I think another way to improve the carryover of teachers for placing their students in their equipment, it's IEP goals to be in it more than just when we're there, the one time a week or whatever is written in their IEP for PT. Um, we want them to be placing their students in these equipment standers, gate trainers, whatever. Um, daily, regularly through the week. So I've found that if you print out an equipment usage form, this could be made up of the student's name, their items of equipment that they use, the duration, um, that this helps, right? I'm a very visual person. And so seeing this helps like remind me, hey, this is out there. I'm seeing it. It might be placed on a wall, whiteboard, somewhere that they're going to see it. It's not in their piles of papers on their desk or anything. Um, but this can be a way that the teachers can log their time that each student is in there. And this is an example of one that I had. It can be done where you have just one student's name, and I think this was for 1 month of time. And I just wanted to get an idea of like, all right, really how often are they putting them in there? And we'll check in weekly, see if they're filling it out, see if they have any questions, ask them how that's going. And if we notice that there's not a lot of carryover and they're having a hard time figuring out like when to put them in or like the consistency is just not there, then we can kind of take a step further and really just be like, all right, we want to help you, and if you keep track of this, then we can take care of the data for you. We can submit this and make sure that all of these things that are within their IEP are being followed. um, and I think there's another example, Janelle, if you want to click. So this is another one that I made through Excel. And it essentially has the dates at the top, but then it has, three different students and their pieces of equipment. And so this is what it would look like if the teachers were to be filling out, this is how long they're putting them in for each day. And there's some X's here and there, and that's fine. We get it. So I just kind of wanted to show some examples. And if we need to, I don't mind to share those as documents through Word or Excel for those to be available as a resource for you, to where you can simply print those out monthly or biweekly or whatever, and see if that helps improve the consistency and carryover. I believe there were a couple more points on my PT support side, Janelle, if you don't mind, if that's not complicated. Okay, thanks. And another thing that is helpful, and teachers really appreciate, is when you suggest appropriate times to be placed in the equipment. Ultimately, you want to find what works best for them. We can always suggest, okay, circle time is a perfect time. Movement dance breaks during the day, PE, recess. But ultimately, we want to find what is going to work for them and be able to be carried on long term. Um, it's important that they know that we're there to help them help the student. We're not just there to add one more thing to their plate. We know that they're busy and they have a lot of students to care for. So we want them to know that we are there to help them. So then that way, in turn, we can help the student.
Okay, sorry, that went way fast through the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about some specific OT supports. And a lot of this kind of carries over to what Molly was saying. We all have our own specific little niches that we're going to go in and help the teachers with, and of course the students. But the overall theme is the same. We're there to help support the teachers to make it easier for our kiddos. So for OT specific support, I really look at different classrooms, right? So if you're looking at self-contained rooms, you're going to support that teacher differently than you are your gen ed teacher. So when you're doing like support in a gen ed classroom, it's going to be probably a little bit more student specific. But if we're talking about some of our self-contained classrooms, then we need to look at all the kids we have in that classroom and see if there's several common goals, because chances are there's several common goals. And so if you can address those goals within the classroom, then that's going to actually free up your treatment time to work on some more specific things. So if you can go in the classroom, spend some time in there, observe the teacher, what she's doing, observe the classroom, and then offer suggestions and even help her set some of the things up. So maybe like I love this picture right here where she's got task box, she's got different little folders for each kid. And so if you can take that and help her adapt some of it to address some of your specific goals, then that can help your students in the classroom, even other students that aren't particularly yours, but like we were talking about before, prevention, you might be able to help them work on some goals or some skills that they're a little bit delayed into. So if you can help them set something like this up, that can be a real help. You can also go in during centers time. A lot of self-contained classrooms have center time. So there was one self-contained class that I had several kids in there. So one of the things that I did to help support the teacher was, one, we had Fine Motor Friday. That's just the day that I went. And one of the centers was me. So since I had most of the kids in the classroom, they would come to me for their center. We would do our goals. We would work on our goals, and then they would move on. So it was a lot of support for the teacher, the class, and my student. So really, if you can find a way to incorporate your treatments into center time, then that's really going to help them and you. And then incorporating lessons that the class is working on. So we actually have a slot at the end where one, or no, I don't think we put that part in there, but we have a DLP teacher that was really talking about how if OT can incorporate in their sessions what the classroom is working on, then that can really help support the teachers. So, for example, if the teacher is working on an apple, like curriculum, like that week they're talking about apples and the letter A, then if you can incorporate in that, you're in. Sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. I'll just take a minute. If you can incorporate that into your treatment, then that can also help support the teacher. I think my brain is working faster than my mouth. Okay. Then I was thinking about more of like your gen ed kids. One way that I have really supported my students in a gen ed classroom is something kind of like this binder down here. A lot of our kids benefit from slant boards. So in this folder, it would also have a pouch that would have their adaptive pencil in it. It would have their adaptive paper in it. It would have maybe their adaptive scissors in it. So that student is going to have their own folder. It's going to have all their stuff in it that they need to help them be more successful, so that they're not just using that pencil grip once a week with you, or they're not just using adaptive scissors once a week or adaptive paper once a week. And then you can tell the teacher and the student, like, I want to check this notebook every week. So they bring that notebook with them to OT. So that's just one way that you can, kind of incorporate support into a gen ed classroom for those gen ed students. And then modeling and working in the classroom some. So I already kind of talked about that in the self-contained, but that could also carry over into gen ed. And what we really want when we are going in and supporting the teachers and the classroom is we're looking for buy-in. We're looking for those teachers to see that what we're doing is beneficial not only for the student, but also for them. Okay, this is kind of the part where we would ask you to share your successes, to share why you feel like this is important, things that you've worked in the past that have worked for you in the past, and then any questions or comments. So since we're doing this virtually and recording it to send it to you, we wanted to just go ahead and give you some suggestions and things that other teachers have told us that were helpful for them.
So I reached out to one teacher, and she had some great things to share. She said, I feel so supported by you all. I don't really think anything that I feel that you should do differently or in addition to what you're already doing. So I'm thinking in more general terms about the best way that related services staff can support teachers. And she's been teaching for many years. So she said, spend time in the classroom so that you can familiarize yourself with their routines. That way, you can help the teacher identify ways that they can embed strategies that you're asking them to use in a classroom in the most natural way possible. If you are asking a teacher to follow through with a specific type of exercise, stretch, position, etc., with a child, spend some time treating that child in the classroom setting so that you can model this for the classroom staff within the context of the school day and provide visual aids if this is helpful. This teacher specifically, we had a student, we were having some trouble figuring out lifts and positioning. And so she was really complimentary on how, each of us, the PT, the OT, me, PTA, we took time modeling, assisting, giving feedback, watching their body mechanics, making sure that the student was safe and good body mechanics for them. And as we know, not every teacher is going to be as comfortable with this. So everybody's different. We have to find different approaches based upon that person's level of comfort. So they had an example where in the past they would even do like role playing with adults to show them how to do lifts, pretending like they're all kind of getting there and figuring it out if they're not able to practice with the student. We know that during the day it's a busy busy and it's hard to break away for all teachers. If it's three teachers, one lead teacher, and the two assistants to all be available to practice lifts and techniques and stuff. So she was just really sweet and meant a lot, and it was very reaffirming.
So the last one that's on here was just from a teacher. I had actually put a post on Facebook and had some teachers give me some input, and they were all kind of just very general of like, just help us out. And so I said, I need some really like deep feedback. I really want to know what's going to help you. And she was saying, I just love when you share the amazing ideas that you've used with them because it gives us ideas as well. And just perhaps observing in the classroom and providing some practical input. It's always harder when you're in the middle of things all day just to stand back and observe. Another set of trained eyes is so helpful. And so for like OT, I kind of look at this. This teacher was one of our multi-impaired teachers for years. And she did other classrooms, but I think the time I worked most closely with her was in multi-impaired. And, for OT, a lot of us, we have goals for feeding themselves and that kind of stuff. So going in at breakfast and lunch and just working with that one student, but just also looking at all the other students and just providing tips and tricks that are going to help your kids and other kids because we are there to treat our kids. I'm going to stop the share actually. So we are in the schools, in the classrooms, we are there to treat our kids, and each kid has a goal, has goals, and sometimes it can be very easy to just get very focused on, okay, there's this kid, there's this goal, this is what I'm working on, but we forget that we're part of a team, and so we all kind of have to work together. So just being able to go into the classroom and support your teacher and to support the class is going to help your student reach that goal. So just kind of bringing the mindset back to being that team player and being there for the whole team. Okay, I think that's it. Molly, do you have anything else?
No, but we hope that these strategies and tips were helpful to you guys. And, let us know if there's anything else that Janelle I can do to support you, supporting the
Yes,
teachers.
yes, of
Thank you.
course. All right, y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.